Today's topic, package availability. Okay, what do I even mean by that? You make an offer and you put a whole lot of packages in there. They are available by default. Anybody can order all of those packages. But we have controls. We can control that through this concept of package availability, which is essentially saying, rather than show them all, under what circumstances should we display this package or not display this package? That's what we mean by package availability. We can use other terms like package limiting, making packages appear conditionally. It's all the same, under the same umbrella, making packages presented, displayed to the end user. Because the default is that they are always presented, and there may be times when you don't want one or more packages displayed, and instead you want other packages displayed. And what it does is it makes it easier for you. You can do lots more with just a single offer. I have seen people make duplicate offers just because at a certain, for certain reason, they need to add a package or remove a package. So they make a whole new offer and have to refresh the job. I've seen people split their job in two because half the school, the junior grades, needed a certain set of packages and the more senior grades needed a different set of packages. And the photographer actually split the job in two just so he could have different offers with different packages in the two. You don't need to do that. You can control what packages get displayed with package availability. Now, you do that with, in 4.9, you've got an offer and a package. This is just my test. You've got this little window and you can control your packages via what we call availability. We're interchanging the terms here based on keys, this thing called limit tags, which I'll talk about, and of course you've got conditions. So that's how that little box, when you go to a package, any package you've got, go to the filter extras tab, double click in there, you get this availability window, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we are briefly going to look at the three options that are there now, because there are new users in the crowd, and like the Marines, no one gets left behind. So we are going back and talking about these three things, and then we will show you the same window in 4.10, which has more availability options to you. You've still got the original three, but you've got some more options in there, which are very easy. We're not going to spend a lot of time on them, and we're certainly not going to do an example of each because there's no need. But we will talk about some of the nuances of all these availability options. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Consider a sports event type photographer doing a job such as this one, for example. Just move that out the way. You've seen this job before. You've got portraits, and then you've also got portraits which are obviously matched to a subject, and then a whole lot of group photos matched to the folder. Not an unusual scenario for these type of photographers. You've got images matched to subject, images matched to the folder. The subject images are going to be ordered with the subject's personal key. The images matched to the folder get ordered by entering a folder key. So hang on to that thought, because the photographer wants to offer different products depending on whether they're these group photos or whether they're subject portraits. So we do that in the offer. Have a look in the offer. Quite simply, I've just made up two very simple packages, one for the portraits, of course you'd have a lot more, and one for all the miscellaneous groups. How do we control it so that they don't mistakenly order a portrait image in a package that is meant to be for the groups and vice versa? We do that in the availability window. You see, for my portrait packages, or for my portraits, And for the package that's going to be to the portraits, I'm using this section. By default, it will say always, but I'm now going to limit that package to be ordered by subjects only. I know that says subject key only, but it's a little bit of a misnomer because really I'm saying subjects only. It's the entity of a subject, and that nuance we'll explain in the next step. The other package, we're saying make it available for folder key orders only. How does that all play out once you upload? Well, let's have a look. This is the job in question. When I order for the subject, Mackenzie, obviously I see her image, but I see the package or packages that I have marked to be available for subjects only. Quite easy. When I click one of these switches, which are the folders, and clicking these switches is the same as entering a key, it's just they happen to be in there already. In my example, if she clicks the Sunday PM folder, it enters the folder key for you. And now we see the images that are matched to that folder, and we see the packages that have been limited to folder key only. Very easy to understand, I think, and very commonly used. Okay, the other main use of that subject versus folder type limiting is with families. That's done very often as well. I have another offer. You saw this a couple of weeks ago. I have a whole lot of packages which are to be made available just for subjects, and then a whole lot of different packages which are to be available only for families when you're ordering for the family key, the family unit, family entity. Again, it's just an option in here. Subject key only versus family key only. Let's have a look how that one plays out. Okay, we saw this example a couple of weeks ago. When I enter the family key, which I have done, and we see the family switch, we see the family packages. So take a note of those packages. They're a certain design, etc., etc. We continue shopping and click any of these subjects that are in that family. We're effectively entering a subject key now, and we see a different set of packages. So again, we're limiting the packages. We're making some packages available under one circumstance, some packages available with another circumstance. The nuance here is with, say, with identify ordering. If identify ordering, you're not entering a subject key, you're not entering a family key or a folder key, you actually enter a job key. And this is a very frequent question I get from new users, how to achieve this, because how does this work in Identify? Because they're hitting it with a job key. The option works. The option in TS Admin works for Identify. So as I said earlier, think of it not necessarily as a subject key, but the subject entity. So that when we go to Identify and we enter a job key, that's my job key for my Identify job, and I'll hit the Identify window. When I'm ordering for the subject, I'm going to see the subject packages. I haven't entered a subject key, but I'm ordering for a subject, and in Identify, it knows that it's the subject entity, and it treats it like I've entered a subject key, even though I didn't. So that's a nuance there that you should be aware of for newbies. And when I go back, order for the family, I will see the family packages again, even though I haven't entered a family key. So that's it. That first option, that first availability parameter, I think is pretty easy, and it's very useful, as you've seen, to limit your packages under certain circumstances. The circumstance here being whether the entity you're ordering for is a subject or a folder or a family. Okie dokes. Next example. Okay, we've got another job here, and I've put in a key for a staff member, and I've put in a key for a subject in that job, a kid, a student. We are offering, as we often do, a staff package or packages. You can see there's the staff package. It's for free, as is often the case for staff product. And you can see the other packages down the bottom. We haven't done anything to this offer yet. We want to offer packages for the staff. We want to offer packages for the students. We will continue shopping, have a look at the subject. Okay. We've done nothing to this offer, and remember, by default, all packages are available. So the student is also seeing the staff package. So we can't do what we did in the previous example because they're both subjects, so they're both subject keys. So we come up with a different method of limiting these packages. Let's have a look at TSAdmin. Okay, the offer in question is this one. And let me have a look at the job. Let's have a look at the job. And we'll go to details mode so we can have a look. A very common scenario, you've got folders for each of the grades. In this case, they're the teachers' names, and then a staff folder. And inside the staff folder are the staff. So we want the staff to be able to order their staff package, but we don't want the students to go in there and order that freebie at the same time. How do we do that? We do that with the package availability. We come into the same section, filters, tabs, and there's my staff package. Okay, there's my staff package and all the other ones. Coming to here, there's a thing called limit tags. As soon as we put something in there, we're restricting that package. We're limiting it to criteria, and in this criteria, it is a matching tag in the job. So I can put in a tag here, say teachers. I could have used staff, but just to show you that it doesn't have to be the folder name, I'm putting in a tag called teachers. That means that package is only going to be available for subjects in a folder who has a tag of teachers. The folder has a tag of teachers. Let's look at the job again. You can see down here, I've already put it in. Each folder has this predefined field called tags. And in the staff one, I've put in the word teachers. It matches what I've put in my package as a limit. The effect of that is that only subjects in this folder with the matching tag will see that package. So having made that modification, hit submit. I need to refresh. I only need to refresh the offer because I had already refreshed the job with that tag of teachers. I'm refreshing the offer. This concept of limiting tags with folders, there is a knowledge base document for it as well that you can follow along with that if you want to. Come back to here, continue shopping. I'll just do a quick refresh. Okay, let's see if it's working. So I order for the staff. Yep, she's seeing her staff package, correct. And Maverick is not. So that's worked, thankfully. The reason he's not seeing it is because with that package, again, we come back into here. With that package, we've said it's limited to subjects who are in a folder with a tag of teachers. He's not in that folder. He doesn't see it. Okay, that's good. That's good. We can take this further. Let's go back to the teacher. How do we do it so that she only sees the staff package or packages and not the rest? We don't want her, maybe we do want her to order something for $66, but believe me, she's not going to do that anyway. So how do we hide packages 2 through 9 so that she doesn't see them, the staff don't see them, but the students still do? You may think, oh, that's easy, Dino, just go and give a tag to all the folders. And you could do that, but you don't have to. It's easier than that. We'll leave the subject folders the way they are and go back to the offer. What you do, come back in here. It's a little bit of work, but you put the negative, you put the inverse of the tag in here. By doing that to the premium package, package 1, negative teachers, what we're saying is make this package available to subjects who are not tagged with teachers, who don't have the tag of teachers. So I will copy that and do it for all the rest. Okay. So the staff package will be available to subjects in a folder that has been tagged with teachers. The rest will be available for subjects in folders that are not tagged with teachers. We haven't had to tag all the other folders. Hit submit. I'll upload again. Hope that's making sense. This limiting by folder is very common. I'm using the example of the staff, but is used very often for people who are doing families in the older way, where they make subjects for their siblings and match them to a subject, and then they have a folder called siblings. And again, they will limit their packages just to that folder. Even perhaps more common is for big schools where you've got junior, middle, high schools, and you've got different packages that need to go to the different parts of that school. We can give tags to the junior school, the middle school, and the senior school. And again, using the tags, we display different packages accordingly. So they're probably the 3 main uses I know of. There may be more. So by putting the negative tag in the other packages, she sees just the staff package. And that should continue being the same for Maverick. Okay. Very common use of package availability is limiting packages according to the folder they're in using the limit tags. It's being used a lot, has been used a lot for years, and it is documented if you want to have a look at that. The third way, traditionally, we limit packages is more recent, and that is with conditions. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go all over conditions all over again. Conditions are new to you, you don't really understand them. There's lots of other videos on YouTube. You can look at old webinar replays where we've done conditions, but there's also a whole playlist of using conditions, and in some of those, we've used them to limit packages. But before I get to conditions, actually, I want to talk about a nuance with limiting by folders. Okay, let's say we do give a tag to these other folders, taking the example I mentioned before. And we could do the others as a middle school and senior school. But let's say there's tags there as well. And then quite common, you may copy a staff member into that folder. Okay, control drag. We now have staff in that, a couple of staff in that folder. Here's the rule. The copied subjects inherit the tag in the destination folder as well. So if we take Mrs. Pauline again, in her staff folder, there's a tag of teachers. In her home folder, there's a tag of teachers. That applies to her. In her destination folder, has a tag of junior. That will also apply to her. That tag is live for her as well, even though she's copied in there. That may or may not have implications to how you're offering the packages. If you've got packages that are being displayed because of the tag junior, she's going to see those packages because she will inherit that tag as well. So that's a nuance you need to be aware of. Let's say that's not what you want, and we had a customer in exactly this scenario a little while ago that I helped. That's where you would use conditions, because you can use a condition that checks what folder somebody is in and do the same thing. You could use a condition that checks what folder the subject is in, put it against the package and have it displayed or not as to whether that condition is true. So we could make a condition, checks for a home folder, and it only looks at the home folder. That is a difference. It only looks at the home folder. If we do it by package availability, as we've done here, the copied subject does inherit the tag of the destination, the copied folder. So you can use that to your advantage, those two different behaviors. It's not a common occurrence, but it came up recently, so I mentioned it to you. Let's have a look at conditions. So that is the third method that you can control the availability of packages. We've seen this example before, the has ordered. I've got some packages. The photographer wants to offer a gift pack for free for people who have ordered, and that he doesn't care how they ordered, whether it's paper order or they ordered online. The idea is to send them back to the website to reclaim this free package. They go back, they will see this gift package. They can order it for free. Hopefully while they're there, they may order some other stuff as well. But of course, he doesn't want people who haven't ordered putting in their key and getting this free package. So we controlled that with a condition. And the condition was has ordered. And if I go to my control panel, I could show you this condition, but we've seen it before, so I'm not going to bother. It's just a condition that checks whether the subject or whether the entity has ordered before or not, and you put it in here in the conditions section, has ordered. And that works well, and I know people are using it, and we'll come to this example. This example. I could open the job. In fact, I think I may have the job opened. Yes. This subject has not ordered. So you can see there's nothing in his order. And he conveniently has a last name called Armstrong, no order, to make it easier for me. The other subject has orders. So we want Harper to be able to order the free package. We don't want Riley to be able to order the free package. The Riley, who has not ordered before, can order the normal packages at full price. Her colleague, Harper, who had ordered before, sees this package and it's for free and can order it for free, but hopefully will order the other packages which have also been reduced in price. That's another use of conditions. For now, we're talking about using the condition has ordered. We made a condition called has ordered and we applied it to the package under the conditions window. That's how that one works. So I could go through lots of different examples of where you can put conditions. Conditions is almighty. We could have, when we talked about limiting packages by subject key, family key, we could have made a condition that checked for subject key. And we could have made a condition that checks for family key or folder key and put it in here. It's just easier, if that's all you want, to do it this way rather than have to make a condition. As I said, we could have made a condition that checked the folder for the staff or the siblings or the junior, middle, high school. We could have made a condition and put it in here. Conditions can do everything, but these other ways of doing it are like shortcuts that save you having to make conditions. And that's the important concept that we will expand on in the next section. But they're the three traditional ways of limiting your packages, of controlling the circumstances under which the packages display. So we had keys, subject, family, folder, most commonly. We can do it by folder by using those limit tags, and they're the three main examples I'm aware of. There will be others where we put in a limit tag in the offer against the package. We go to the job, we go to the folder, we put in the matching tag in the folder. That's the second way. And the third way, the almighty way, is conditions. You can make any conditions you want, put it against a package. That package will only display when the condition is true. So they're the three traditional ways that we can control package availability. And even if you don't switch off now and don't look at sort of what's new, the other things we've done, if you can just get your head around the concept that we can make packages appear or disappear based on things, I think that makes your life easier. Again, I've seen people making you offer just to remove a package and refresh the job. If on the fly you don't want a package to appear anymore, now let's say for argument's sake, at a certain time, you don't want PK1 to come in. There's no need to delete the package. There's no need to make another offer without it and switch and refresh to it. Just come in here, put whatever you want in there, put garbage in there, literally the word garbage, or no show. You can put it there, you can put it there. Anytime you put something in here, you are limiting that package. So you're never going to have a condition called XXXX. So if I throw that in against this package now and refresh the offer, this package will not display because I don't have a condition called XXX. Or I could have put it up in here. There's no way I've got a folder with a tag called XXXX anywhere in any of my jobs. So this package would then never display. That's an easy way just to turn off a package on the fly without you having to delete it, without you having to duplicate the offer just to remove a package. Just come in here, put in nonsense into either the limit tag or the conditions, and that will limit that package and you'll never see it. That's another sort of side use of doing this stuff. Any questions so far, Mark?
No questions, but I want to ask a question, I guess, myself.
Yep.
In the conditions, you can only ever put one condition against the package, but in the limit tags, I believe you can put multiple tags.
Thank you for reminding me. You can do, for example, semicolon and have another condition, another tag up there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
Yeah, that is very true. For more complex scenarios, you can have multiple tags, separate them by semicolon. Likewise, in the folder itself, you can put multiple tags in there in the folder of the job.
Conditions are only ever one, but you can combine conditions in a condition.
Correct. In conditions, when you make a condition, for example, or here's an example, you can combine multiple parameters. These two different parameters could have been, ignore what the condition is, it's not important here, but these parameters could have been what made the condition on their own, but for our purposes, for this purpose, we've combined two parameters. So you can combine as many parameters into a condition you like, and then apply that condition to TSAdmin in the conditions section. And you can have conditions and tags. You know, you could have the limit tag and still put a condition in here to serve your purpose. Okay. I will point out now, and I'll point it out again shortly, that as soon as you limit a package by doing anything like this, and let's say you've got a condition in here, a condition, I don't know, I'll just call it Dino, doesn't matter what. All three of those things have to be true. It's limiting them by all three. This package will only show if it's a subject key, if they have a matching tag of negative teachers, and if the Dino condition is true. If any of one of those things are not the case, the package will not show. We're not saying either one or any of them. In this section, we're always saying all the parameters need to be true for it to present. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Mark?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
So, but I will emphasize that point in a second as well. All right. So sticking with, well, we may as well stick with this offer for now. So on that subject of conditions, we understand, I totally sympathize and I empathize that conditions is something that scares a lot of people, and it shouldn't. If it does, please look at all those tutorials. If you go to the YouTube and look at the conditions playlist, there's maybe half a dozen examples, and they're all case studies. They are all examples of how people are using conditions. They're not something hooky that I've made up just to impress you. No, they are what people are doing right here and now with conditions. And you'll get ideas. You may not do things exactly the same way, but you'll learn the craft, you'll learn the tools, and then you can use conditions for your own benefit. That said, I understand that conditions can sometimes be a pain, or you don't want to do them. And there are conditions that are so simple and so yes or no-ish, there's nothing complicated about them, that why should you have to make a condition for it anyway? With that in mind, Peter and I decided, and Mark decided, to pull out some of the more common and simple things you used to have to do with conditions and make them available straight away in here, right here. We'll start with languages. We'll start with languages. That one's a little bit different to the others that I'll show you. I've made another offer here, and this photographer has different packages, wants different packages displayed depending on what flag the customer clicks on their site. They've got a multilingual site, a bilingual site. A lot of you have. A lot of you have US and Mexican Spanish. Some of you have Canadian and French Canadian. In Europe, we've got people with English, French, Danish, etc., etc. So you may want to offer different packages depending on the language of the end user. With that in mind, I'm going to refresh to this offer and see how that works and how we got there. So I'm going to just change the offer for my job. Go to that one. Yep. Okie dokes. And come to, we can do this one. Okay, my default language is English. When I go to French, you see they're actually different packages. I've got different title, different description. I could have changed, well, I did change that to French, toggle back and forth. The English packages, see the actual package template is different. The French one, easy. How did we do that? Let's have a look at the offer. So again, you could have done this with just conditions, and people were doing it with conditions. They would make a condition that checks for the language and then came into here and would put the condition, whatever it was, in there. We've now made that easier for you by having a language object, and you can put in the language code for the language you want in here. So my package PK1, the English version, I'm putting EN in there. That is the correct code for the English language. Okay, English. Then for the French package, we put in FR. That is the internationally recognized code for French. So that's FR for French. You need to know that if you want to convert to French language. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's French, or Canadian French. You just put in FR in there. You'll need to know what the others are. ES is Spanish. Again, doesn't matter if it's Mexican Spanish or continental Spanish, it's ES. I don't know who's in the audience, but just in case, we've got NL for Dutch, being NL being Netherlands, and DA for Danish. So they're, along with English, of course, all the languages I think we've got going at the moment. So that's how we can make the package conditional, so to speak, on language without making a language condition. Got that one? So I'm going to go back to this offer. You can see we've added along the same lines as languages so that you don't have to make a language condition. We've put in other things so you don't have to put in a condition. For example, I know people make a condition based on the type of order processing, whether it's a pre-order or a fulfill. You don't need to do that for condition anymore. You can just come in here and mark this package to be available only when it's a pre-order or only when it's for fulfill. That makes sense? I'm not going to show you examples of these because we've done them to death. It is simply now limiting the package. In this example, it's going to only show the package when it's a pre-order. That way, when it's fulfilled, or by default, it's any. Then we've got these, what we call triphase buttons. We've got is identify, if in composite, in a group, has an image, has ordered. You can see those all have a yes or no answer. Either the job is identified or it's not. Either the subject is in a comp or they're not, is in a group or they're not, has an image or has images or they're not, or not, has ordered or not. And you need to understand how these three-phase buttons work. By default, they'll be filled in for you. When they're filled in, that means they're off. That means we're not checking, we don't care. We don't care. It's just the default behavior. It's not even going to check whether it's identify or comp, group, etc., etc. Click it to that point. We are now saying, we are now limiting this package to only if it's an identify job. Click it again. We're doing the opposite. We are limiting this package to it not being an identify job. You see the difference between that and that. That's saying we don't care. It could be identified, it could not be identified. We don't give two hoots for it about it. We don't care. That's saying we do care. We're only showing the package if it's an identified job. That's saying we do care. We're only showing the package if it's not an identified job. And that's saying we'll show this package whether it's identified or not. Same concept with that. Subjects in a comp, subjects not in a comp. We don't care if they're in a comp or not. Subjects in a group, subjects not in a group. We don't care if they're in a group or not. Got images, hasn't got images. Don't care. Has ordered, hasn't ordered. Don't care if they've ordered or not. These are all things you could have done with conditions. These are things you can now do inherently in this tab without having to make conditions. And the beauty of it is the conditions still work. You can still do something like, I'm just making this up. You can still do something like this and have your condition. The conditions still work in conjunction with the rest. That's very handy too. Some of the more nerdy people out there, and I say that with great respects, have really complicated conditions with lots of parameters. You can pull some of those parameters out, and put them into these sections and call up these triphase buttons, and then your condition works in conjunction with that. So it actually has more uses than first hits the eye. It makes your condition simpler. If you're still going to use conditions, it could make them simpler and easier to understand. And then those conditions work in conjunction with the other things, or you just don't bother with conditions. So I'll emphasize the point I made with Mark earlier, that it is always all. If we look at this one now, let's say we did that as well, just to really exaggerate the point. This package would only be shown if it's a subject. if they're not tagged with teachers, if the job is not identified, if I happen to be in a comp, and if I've got images. They all have to be true. They all have to be met. All those parameters have to be met before this package is displayed. We don't have here the flexibility that you do with conditions. Come back in here of this. So when you make a condition, you've got all, which is what TSAdmin's function does. It's using the all. We don't have that. We don't have that. We haven't got that sort of power in TSAdmin. So if we did that with this condition, we'd be saying this condition is true if either of those two things are true. It can be one or the other. We don't care which, but as long as one of them is correct, the condition is true, package gets shown. In TSAdmin, it's always that one. It's always the equivalent of that one. All those things need to be true. I'll just pull out a couple of examples of where I've used it or where we can use it quite simply, and then we're done. Okay, this guy's good. Who is he? Dale. You can see he's got all the packages available to him. We could, I'm not going to show this example, but I talk about it. For example, to stop people ordering a digital package if they haven't got an image, yes, it happens. Against this package in TSAdmin, I could have used the little box that said has image. And if the person didn't have an image, it wouldn't appear. It stops people ordering a digital if they haven't been photographed. That's one way. We used to do that for conditions. But I'm just going to show you a couple of other ways of using this. Go back to here. Dale's little girlfriend, Haley. Okay. All good, except when this photographer did the group photos on a different day, she wasn't at school. So she doesn't have a group photo. And we don't want the parent to see that. We don't want the parent to inadvertently order that, thinking she's going to get it, then obviously not get it, ring up your customer service, complain, want refunds, or worse yet, insist that you get your Photoshop person to paint her head into the group photo, and all of a sudden this $38 package costs you money rather than you making you money. So why don't we not show this package if she's not in the group? And we very simply can do that now without having to make a condition. The group package is package 8. Now, when I say group, I'm talking about, in this example, Neo group groups, okay? Yeah, it's package 6 there. What was it? PK8, I should say. Come into here. Take that off anyway. If I do this, what I'm saying is only display this package if the subject or the entity is in a group. Okay, so if I do that without having made a condition, without bothering about conditions, hit submit, refresh. And go back into her. So you see what's happened? The group package has been removed because she doesn't have a group. It'll still be there for her mate, for Dale, because he has a group. So it's true for him, that little parameter, that limit is true for him. He still has the group, she does not. If we look at another buddy of Dale's, he doesn't have comps, which is a bit rarer, but it does happen. I can't think of too many circumstances why, because the comp uses the individual photo and he has the individual. The reason I can think of is for privacy, for legal reasons. He may not be allowed to appear on, with his name on a printed piece of paper where the wrong hands could get to it. So again, if we don't want to have him or his mum ordering a package that includes comps, and there's 1, 2, 3 of them, we could come into here, go to those packages, and do that. And we've said now make this package, limit this package to if the person is in a comp. and do the same there. And we could refresh that. And you could replace it. You could have another package. You see, you could, for example, have a duplicate of that package. So you have a premium, we call it premium comp. Okay, take the comp out of there, take the comp out of here. Okay, so they're now not going to get the comp. And make this package, PK1 no comp, make that one quite the opposite. See the difference? We're saying now that one is only going to display if the person is not in a composite. So the mum can still order some sort of premium package in lieu of the premium package with a comp. They'll order a premium package that doesn't have a comp in there. So we've used the negative. And submit that. Refresh. Finished. Okay.
Hang on.
Yeah, it worked. You see now, this guy who doesn't have a comp is getting the alternative package. And if we scroll down here, I hadn't done that one. Oh, no, yeah, I hadn't put the limit against there. But you see, we've used that is in comp, is not in comp, to not only not display a certain package, but to display an alternative for it instead. I think that's it. Thanks for coming, and see you next week. Bye for now.